cool. Gotta move.
The man so eloquently expressed what we all feel. What we feel is when one hurts. We all hurt. Why? Because we're all sons and daughters of God. And we're all students here, and we love each other. We love our family. We are family. I chose the lesson today from the voice of Fahamme. The voice of Fahamme. A lesson written by a noble Adept Cheikh Wabra Semahi some time ago. It was prevalent then, it's prevalent now, and it will be prevalent tomorrow, on and on until it's done. We gave a lesson one time entitled a Taboo Exposition, and it was a big word to simply say, never done. Things that are never done, things that are talked about, but things that are never done. And until it's done, we're going to continue to talk about it. Essentially, really be Hidron and Ra, in memory of our Rafu, who is responsible for giving us this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Peace be upon him. Peace be upon our living and our dead. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon this land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Who are these people? These people are your ancestors. Your ancestors are your fathers and your mothers. The message of importance. Negroes, so-called, must learn to love instead of hate each other. The only way that they can learn to love each other is by learning of their own ways of life. This is the message that we are saying to the world. The world is in turmoil, trying to find a solution to the problems. And we are saying, we have a solution to the problem. And the problem is, the only way that they can learn to love each other is by learning of their own ways of life. We are saying that that is part of the solution. To learn of your own ways of life. Their own angels, virgins, saints, prophets, priests, kings and queens, and their own way of salvation. Islam is the true way of life. It is the ancient and divine creed of Ethiopia and Egypt. We have so many things that are being fostered upon our people today. All an idea has to do is just for somebody to bring it forward. And the next thing you know, someone else over here has it. Someone else over here has it. How did these people learn to get this message so quick? because understanding travels on the wings of understanding. That's why it's important that you say these things over and over again. You say them over and over again, that they become embedded in a people's mind, that it becomes a way of life. Ethiopia, we give praise and we say a prayer in remembrance of Ethiopia. It says, Ethiopia shall return unto Allah, Amen-Ra, the true God, the Most High. This is the only way in which we can have good luck in anything we go after. And this is the only true method of salvation. The holy and ancient church of Islam and the holy schools of Islamic understanding turned out such graduates and theologians as Enoch, Noah, Abraham, Moses, Daniel, Solomon, and the Queen of Sheba. Jesus, our spiritual brother, was an Israelite. So was all of those mentioned above. Hiram, the builder of Solomon's temple, was an Islamite. Islam, the protection of the true spiritual God, is the Negro's only salvation. Ethiopia must stretch forth her hands unto God. The Ethiopian is a dead both spiritually and mentally, and must be revived again. We are the sons and daughters of ancient kings. God said, out of Egypt I have called my son. Rasul. Jesus, our spiritual brother, said, love ye one another. What is wrong with that message? What is wrong with that message? Is that message being understood by the people out here that are following him? Or is there a misinterpretation of what he is trying to project? He says, love ye one another. For on this commandment hangs all the laws and all the prophets. Egypt and Ethiopia is the true Holy Land. Out of Egypt I have called my son. Paul said Moses was a man who was learned in all the secret wisdoms of Egypt, and a mighty man in words and in deeds. Daniel was half-brother to Zerah, a mighty king of Ethiopia. Moses was taught by Muth, the black wife of Ramesses I. You can only get in touch with good luck and the protection of God by learning the secret wisdom of the divine creed of your forefathers, as was studied by both Solomon and Jesus, our spiritual brothers. This is what we are trying to introduce to our brothers and sisters. We have no argument with anyone's religion, because ours is that and more. Therefore, Jesus is our spiritual brother. Learn of the secrets of good luck and salvation that our ancestors knew and enjoyed when the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair and beautiful, and they took upon themselves wives and husbands, all of which they chose, and all of the prophets were Islamites. This is what our good brothers do not teach in the churches. They seem to think that everything started with Christianity. What were the people before they were Christians? People speak about Islam. What was Islam before it was Islam? It was Islam. Islam. As I said, we have no argument with anyone, because ours is an altogether different world. Sometimes we try to confuse, or we get confused in the interpretation of what is being said, because the message comes to us sometimes so simple that we say to ourselves, I knew that. When in reality, no, you didn't. And all of the prophets were Israelites. It is a command of God. The Moors of Spain belonged to the Islamite race and were students of Islam. Islam leads, all others follow. Be an Islamite. From the book of wisdom. From the book of wisdom. Every child that is born is heir to his or her father and to his or her mother, and all but the evil will say, Amen.
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 Every orphan needs adoption and also education. If he or she comes to no good, then you are not to blame. We don't have to walk around and feel as though we let our children down. We taught them what was necessary to survive in this society. We taught them until they became producing men and women. And we did what we could. Every woman needs a husband, a home, and children, and the help of her husband for her and her children. There are too many women on the highways who ought to have husbands and a home, but worship neither mate nor children, but worship the Fahamme God. Your wife to you is like your soul, and like your soul to you is your husband. This is a Fahamme parable worth repeating, and Fahamme is cosmic of all things. Peace and prosperity go together. So let there be peace in your family, and joy and happiness is assured. The heathens and savages and pagans and sinners among you are those who carry long knives to cut one another. They fight their wives, and the wives fight their husbands. They hate their own people and the law of the land. They do not go to the temples, but fight everything. They hate their own people and the law of the land. They do not go to the temple. We repeat, but they fight everything. Surely hell is prepared for them here and in the hereafter. These are the idolaters among you, and they are the filthy impure. So respect your good ancestors and the people of the present, and your fathers and your mothers, and keep clean in body and in mind. The heathens and pagans and savages and sinners among you are those who get drunk, talk vulgar, loud in speech, raving and cursing. These are the infidels, the lost. The ignorant among you are those who do not know their God, nor their ancestry, nor their history, nor they have a language, nor do they have a language of their own. But if they know a few words of their language, and are studious, and do pray, and does good, and loves their nation, and their temples, they will certainly live a happy life here and hereafter in Ahlu, the garden of God. And teach your children good manners, and provide them with food. And when they are old enough, let them help provide their fresh meat and bread and fruit and milk and everything. And teach them to make shoes and clothing, medicine and nursing hygienes, and housing telepathy, and communications building, and navigations, and Ra is the Fahamme of the air. But some of your ancestors were barefooted because they knew they walked on holy ground. Thus Ra and Ori is pictured sometime as a hawk or cat, for these men could see everything. Sometimes a serpent is pictured on the crown, the cunning of the Wabra, and goddesses were often pictured as doves to show the loving Spirit of God, the Holy Ghost. And Jesus, when he was baptized and went up straightway out of the water, and lo, the Spirit of God descended like a dove and lighted upon him. Matthew chapter 3, verse 13. Mark chapter 1, verse 10. Luke chapter 3, verse 22. This same Spirit of God in the shape of a dove is pictured on the shoulders of Isis, Aminti, Ishtati, Ishtaret, thousands of years before Jesus. Amen. You have two mothers and two fathers. The earth is your physical mother. The heavens, your celestial mother or grandmother. You have two fathers. The heaven is your divine or grandfather. The earth is your material father. So praise Leuli, from whom all blessings come. Fahamme Rasul. The Holy Virgin Moon is mother of the gods. The Immaculate Conception, overshadowed by the holy shadow or ghost, which was sunlight, and that holy thing which is born of her annually. Do not pray to the sun and neither the moon, but pray most to the Most High, who created them. Wings represent the physical spirit of God, which is air, the breath of air, Fahamme Rasul. All adverse conditions are accidental and temporary and cannot permanently deflect the course of history and your deep-rooted and magnificent culture, Fahamme Rasul. O believers, do not backbite one another, and let not one person laugh at another person. Maybe they are better than they are. neither curse one another or call one another bad names. And whoever does this, they are the unjust, the impure. Holy Quran. And be not like the pagans of ancient and modern times, who are careless in naming a child. But give to your children the name that exalts. Fahamme, Rasul. Then, if it comes to a bad end, then you are not to blame. The commonplace names are heathenism. Avoid them. Leave them alone. Fahamme Rasul. A parable. A parable. The cloudy sky above is the ocean in heaven. Makibu is the ark, a boat in which the sun rides. When the sky is clear, it is called sky lane. Then the sun is riding in a cart or chariot. When the chariot swings low, it is sunset. Then the souls of the dead get on board and go to the land of the midnight sun. Brothers and sisters, gods and goddesses, keep clean by bathing and keep healthy. Fight sickness like you fight a lion. Be neat and joyful and happy. And either, in other words, or take some exercise. Fahamme Rasul. The heathens and the pagans and the idolaters and the sinners among you are those who lie and steal and talk vulgar and loud and do not mind their parents and disobeys the laws. These will come to no good. Fahamme Rasul. O girls of Fahamme, be like Queen Akra and marry the best of men. And do not marry loafers, tramps, nor drunkards, nor marry none who cannot read and write. Fahamme Rasul. And let boys marry the best of girls, and those who are unclean, leave them alone. Fahamme Rasul. Allah, Amin Ra, shall exalt and lift up the Goni people, because these are the saints among you. I thank you, my gods and goddesses. Salam.
Salam.